First of all, I would like to thank you, Your Excellency, Member of the European Parliament, Pilar del Castillo, and the European Internet Foundation for the invitation extended to the mission of Brazil to the European Union to present once again the views of the Brazilian government on the future of Internet governance. We hope to make a contribution to the reflections going on in the EU, our strategic partner. Since I was here 1 year ago, shortly after President Dilma Rousseff's famous speech on Internet governance at the UN General Assembly, many significant developments have followed, and at full speed. Among others, the American government agreed to transfer key internet domain name functions to the global multi-stakeholder community. Net Mundial, a historical event in the words of the former Vice President and Commissioner Neelie Kroes, took place and ushered in a new and more democratic era for the negotiation of international instruments. In parallel, the Brazilian Civil Rights Framework for the Internet, Marco Civil in Portuguese, after years of discussions and public debate, finally entered into force. The 9th IGF Forum was held in September in Istanbul. Less than 2 weeks ago, the 2014 ITU Plenipotentiary Conference came to a close. At the same time, Brazil and ICANN, in partnership with the World Economic Forum, launched the Net Mundial Initiative, a platform to facilitate global cooperation and foster broad diffusion of bottom-up collaborative solutions for distributed Internet governance. Next year offers even more promising prospects. We expect the transition of the IANA functions to be concluded by September. Brazil, with its push for a multi-stakeholder, multilateral, democratic, open and transparent model, will host in November the next edition of the IGF in João Pessoa. In December, a UN General Assembly high-level event will reveal the implementation of the results of the World Summit on the Information Society, when the continuity of the IGF might be at stake if we're not to act for its strengthening. Brazil does believe that the IGF mandate should be extended as an important and legitimate vehicle for multi-stakeholder discussions on a global level on questions pertaining to the Internet. Some of you may have felt concerned that I mentioned the word multilateral multi-stakeholder when I was explaining the model of Internet governance Brazil stands up for. No need for preoccupation. We would never accept a disintegrated system devised to enable governments to stifle freedom of expressions in their countries and exclude all communities from Internet governance. Brazil supports a democratic, open and unfragmented Internet, where all the stakeholders have their say on an equal footing. A truly multi-stakeholder model should allow all its components, including governments, to play their specific roles and assume their responsibilities. Multilateralism is not bound to disrupt the multi-stakeholder system. On the contrary, it can complement and reinforce it by providing the governments with the ability to do what is naturally their primary responsibility with support and input from the other communities. For instance, the discussion of international policies concerning cybersecurity, cyber defense, fiscal regimes, and the fight against cyber crimes. At this point, I call your attention to the fact that Brazil upholds the rights of developing countries and its communities, their communities, to take part in the governance of the Internet. Brazil has been emphasizing in the international debates the need that scientific and technological progress must aid at narrowing the persistent digital gap among countries and regions. It must also ensure universal access to knowledge and development. Brazil is especially engaged in the transition of the IANA functions and in the process of enhancement of ICANN's accountability and governance. It is not enough to take purely technical measures and free ICANN from the constraints imposed by its connection to the Department of Commerce of the United States. It's also necessary to adopt mechanisms of accountability and governance to increase the corporation's transparency and legitimacy. If it turns out that it will not be possible to fully implement the changes needed, it will be essential to agree on a roadmap of actions and deadlines to reform current procedures in the near future. Finally, I would like to mention once more our close cooperation with the EU on this topic in light of our common view on the need to improve the current structures of Internet governance. At the bilateral level, Internet governance was one of the main topics discussed in the 7th Sector Dialogue on the Information Society, which took place here in Brussels last week. I thank you all for your kind attention.